Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds. So this is where I collect together all the different albums and things that I've purchased over the past week, and I get them from different places like my local record store, but also online retail like Amazon, eBay, and more. And I've got a bunch of different things to go through. Let's see, 5 CDs, a box set, and 2 records. So we're going to dive into that here in just a bit. But before we do, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you're going to stay up to date on really cool episodes just like this with New Music Finds. So as I like to do, I like to start off with new releases. There was only one thing that I picked up brand new this past week. February 24th was the release date. Rick Wakeman and the English rock ensemble, A Gallery of the Imagination. Brand new studio album. And I have to say, you guys all know that I'm a big Yes fan, and I do like solo Rick Wakeman as, the rest of the offshoot projects and things like this. The last Rick Wakeman album that he did, which is called The Red Planet, and it also featured the English rock ensemble, for me was a near perfect album. It was fantastic. For me, it was just on par with everything he had done before, even better in some places. Again, this is just my opinion. And this album here really, unfortunately, is a disappointment. And I don't mean that the album itself is not a good album, but it was just not what I was hoping for. That last album was so good. It was also an all-instrumental album where it had a theme running through it, a musical theme, not just a conceptual theme about the red planet being Mars, but had a musical theme that continued to rear itself throughout, making, if you like one of the tracks, you're pretty much going to like the whole thing. And this one here is done very differently. While there is some bit of a theme that rears itself throughout, it has vocals on 8 of the 12 tracks that are here. They're done by a woman, and I'm just not particularly into her way that she sings. As a whole, the album is not bad. It is not unlistenable. It is just not what I was looking for. It's very mellow. There's only 2 songs that I would remotely call rock songs, and with this being recorded with the English rock ensemble, I would have expected it to rock out the way the 2 previous albums that have the rock ensemble on it are. This one here, very, very mellow. So just very disappointed, very unhappy. This one is not going to be making my top 20 for the end of the year. I just can't imagine it doing that in the end of the day. Those 2 instrumentals I absolutely love. The rest of this, though, I could just take or leave. But there you go. That is my take on the brand new Rick Wakeman album. Hopefully in time it might grow on me. As I said, it is not a bad album. It is just not what I was hoping it would be. Okay, I ordered some stuff off of eBay and Amazon and different places like that. First one up is one that did really hit the ball out of the park for me, and it was a Tangerine Dream album from 1976 called Stratosphere. And I had gotten this on a record, but the record as a gift from someone, but it was just in such poor quality. And I knew that going into it, it was something that a friend of mine, Joe, had gotten a box of records from someone, and most of them were just in horrible, horrible shape. But I grabbed a few out of there, one of them being Tangerine Dream Stratosphere. And of the portion of the album that would play, the title track really kind of blew my mind. So I ordered it on CD, and I'm really glad to have gotten that. Been enjoying that immensely, along with other Tangerine Dream albums and things that I have. Got this one in the mail after waiting a while for it, and it was one that I had picked up on record a few months back. You might have remembered me getting this from Factory Records, one of my Saturday night visits. Pipe Dream. And this one here is featuring Tim Bogart there. So that was really cool. I had gotten into some solo Tim Bogart and then did some research and found out he had a few other bands and things out there besides what we know him from, like Beck, Bogart and a Piece and Cactus and stuff like that, and found out he was part of this group here, a short-lived group that put out this one album. This is on Bad Reputation Records, which is becoming a really kind of cool label that's churning out a lot more than it did over the years. In the past, it was putting out very few albums. I have found albums going back 20 plus years and longer from the label, but now all of a sudden it seems like they're putting stuff out every couple months. So definitely picked up in terms of what they're releasing, this being one of them. So I was glad to get a hold of that. Now, if you saw my New Music Now episode from this past Saturday, that posted at least then you know that when I pulled this one out, I was super bummed because it was not in like new or very good condition that it had said that it was. But I shipped that one back and got a replacement. So Grin, which is Nils Lofgren, this album here, 1+1, their second studio album. Nils Lofgren, of course, being from the E Street Band and Crazy Horse with Neil Young. And that's kind of how I was getting into this. They just announced a brand new collaborative album by the four people that make up Crazy Horse: Molina, Talbot, Lofgren, and Young, all bringing solo tracks to the thing. And so I wanted some more, and so I ordered this. But it came damaged with the booklet being crimped in there, and oh, what a heartbreak. I know you guys know what I mean when you get something in the mail. You've been waiting, and it comes, and then it's damaged. It's like, oh man, just knife through the heart kind of a thing. But I ordered that I shipped the other one back and ordered this one, and I don't know, 3 days later this one came. So unfortunately, I did not have to wait too long. I got this one in pretty quick succession, and I'm glad because the album's really good. I've really been enjoying it, and definitely glad that I decided to go ahead and reorder another copy from somebody else. All right, now having picked this one up and ordered that one coming from Amazon, when I went out to Sound Exchange this past week, I picked up this one called Melrose, 1991, I think, 1990. So Tangerine Dream, Melrose. It was just a used one that they happened to have, and so I decided to give that a whirl and add it into my collection. It's got a much more adult contemporary type feel to the electronic style music as opposed to what they were doing in the late 70s and through the 80s. That was decidedly that kind of time frame, but by this point they were, I think, trying to sort of spread their wings and modernize themselves as opposed to standing out as much as they had previous to that. Good stuff, but just for me, not quite what I was looking for in terms of wanting that 80s sound, synthesizer feel to everything. So the other thing I picked up was Jean-Luc Ponty, a little box set here of 5 albums of his going from through the 70s. I don't know exactly the years that it starts, but definitely the mid 70s, and 5 of them that are there. And I always like these things. You get 5 albums in their sleeves like this. It's not the jewel cases, but it's better than when it has the twofer on one disc and they kind of compress all of the art and everything. I like getting individual art for all of my albums. Incidentally, the reason I was picking this up is one of those albums that I got from my friend Joe that was a heavily water damaged kind of a thing was this one, Imaginary Voyage by Jean-Luc Ponty, and I was enjoying that. So then I needed to get it on CD, and that's where this little nice package comes from here. So getting to have that, which was very cool. And since I mentioned getting some of those records, a couple of the ones that I ended up keeping because they were in good condition is this one here, Novo Combo. Didn't know anything about this, but I flipped the album over, and I love it when they put the names of the artists that are there. And right here at the end, we've got Michael Shreve. And so I knew him from, of course, Santana, but mostly from HSAS, Hagar, Sean, Aronson, Shreve. So seeing his name on here, I was like, well, I'm going to take this, whether it's jazz or not, I don't know. Turned out that it's new wave. So it turned out to be music that I actually really enjoyed and like, as opposed to some of the solo stuff that Shreve has done that is jazz. I'm just not really a big fan of that style stuff, but getting that was pretty cool. So something good came out of all those waterlogged albums and stuff. Another one was called The Wooden Tops, Giant. I think this is the debut album. I think they might have made more than one. I don't know much about them, but really enjoyed this when I popped it on. This is 1986, also, not new wave, but 80s sounding, and this one here is 1981. So I just saw these. This is one I've actually seen around, and so I was sort of like, well, let me grab it because I've seen it so many times. This one didn't recognize anything, but it was a cool album cover, and then, like I said, recognized Michael Shriek. But I like taking chances on things like that, even though I wasn't paying for these. But I mean, I love getting something and just saying, looked at the year, you look at who the members are, things like that, the album cover, you kind of get a feel for it, and then you go pop it on. And if it turns out to be what you were expecting it to be, then it's just that much better. But got a couple records, got, let's see, 5 CDs, so including that new one there, but that and a little, 5 CD box set. So I got a little bit of everything this time here. So stuff from music stores, from Amazon, from eBay, new release, you name it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Maybe you found something you want to go search out and check out yourself. Maybe the information on that Rick Wakeman steered you one way or the other. I never want to detour anyone from picking something up, but I do want you to have all the information. And if that sounded like something you weren't interested in, then maybe you listen to it before picking it up, that kind of thing. So that's why I like to give you guys all the info. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.